Okay, buddy.
Action.
Action. It's been a long break. We've apparently, according to our sound engineer Beck, it's been 1 month since we've recorded. After we had vowed that we would get back on track.
That's a long break, Joel.
It is a long break, and in the meantime, we've gone to some specialized podcast trainings.
As you can see.
Right. But this is season 2, episode 1 of Set to the Office, otherwise known as Adventures of Tremendous Fat Ass. So, season 2, episode 1. I'm sure our viewers, our listeners can't see, but the ones that watch on YouTube will be impressed by our East Side engineering here.
Well, for anyone who may not be able to see it, why don't you explain what everybody can see?
Well, what's happening here, Dan, is we've heard that we've had a pretty bad echo in our recordings, and this is one attempt to try to reduce that echo. I purchased some acoustic foam, and we've wrapped acoustic foam squares around each microphone with the hope that it would absorb our voices and not carry into the other microphone. And we're not sure if it's going to work, but our next step is to purchase new microphones, which we will do because our fans demand it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm outraged it hasn't been done yet already.
You're outraged.
Outraged.
I'm surprised. If you're outraged, why haven't you put it on Facebook?
Hey.
Because that's what you do when you're outraged.
Well, yeah, I don't, but I'm also vindicated because as our listeners can hear, it wasn't me that was not speaking loud enough. It was a situational issue because if they're hearing what we heard from the test, it's that seat.
It's this seat and this microphone,
yes,
or whatever the acoustics are from this seat.
Yeah,
okay.
Not the person.
It's not the person. Well, I think people will still think it's the person, but we'll find out. And so a little acoustic foam and some duct tape. And I understand that Dan always has duct tape on him.
Yeah. When I came in, Joel said, "Hey, Dan, you have any duct tape?" And I thought he was kidding because I always have duct tape.
Always have duct tape.
Actually, had 2 different kinds of duct tape. This here is...
That's electrical tape, isn't it?
No, it's not electrical. But anyway.
Okay.
That's kind of a funny story. Miguel that works with me.
Yep.
You know, when he first got hired, we got to go to Baltimore for that conference.
Yep.
And
conference on expeditionary learning.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I think I hadn't really even talked to him except when we met him at the airport.
That's right. We didn't hardly know him at all.
And he knew he was rooming with me. And at some point he saw in my carry-on, you know, I unzipped it. I was looking for something, and he saw I had a roll of duct tape. Yeah.
You should have like an empty brown bottle with the word chloroform on there.
Looking back on it, I can understand his feelings, I guess. But
does it hurt to sit down right now, Miguel?
This is a redneck-looking contraption.
This is very East Side, and we'll see how it works. If it doesn't, then we'll by next time we record, we will have a new condenser microphone. I
should be in a studio.
You should be, but you're not because you're not very good. So, if we were good, we would have a sponsor and a studio. But instead, we're not good, and we have 3 dozen.
I've actually had offers. I've passed them. I'm not going to sell out.
No.
Fuck that.
No.
Beat that.
We do have some dedicated listeners. I did get a message from one, a friend named Drew, who he is very he's aware when we don't record.
Yeah.
And he sends me messages quite often.
Drew.
Drew's the man. He's a Lincoln High guy, and he even sent an idea of what we could talk about a few weeks ago, but I forgot. And then he sent me another one about his one of his kids wanting to move out at the age of 18 and with some friends and go to school. And I might have to look that one up, and we can talk about that. But I just wanted to mention that we do have people that listen, and for some reason they value our advice, which I don't know. But I just wanted to give Drew some props because Drew is a listener. who is on it. As soon as we release the podcast, he's on it.
Wow.
And I had lunch today with another friend, Marty, who listens every single. As soon as it's out, he listens. So
That's cool.
yeah. So we do have some people out
We better
there.
talk about something important then.
I know, but what do we?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We gotta.
We can talk about Christmas. That's important.
And it just happened.
Just happened. Just happened.
Oh, guess what I did 2 days ago?
Okay. What?
I'll give you a hint.
Okay. You touched yourself?
Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiroo.
You were in a musical?
I do what I likes, and I likes what I do. Come on, dude. I clean my chimney. That's from Mary Poppins.
I don't
What's
watch
wr-
shows like that.
Yeah, but
Okay.
everybody knows Mary Poppins.
So you cleaned your chimney.
On Christmas Eve.
How do you, don't you, why wouldn't you hire somebody to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but doesn't that, how do you even do that?
I learned it with my dad, actually, when I was younger. You
I wish
can
I
buy
had a
the
dad.
stuff. Sorry, they're very confused right now why I just laughed when you said that, but we'll have to come back. No, you can buy the stuff at
I hear
Menards.
I hear dads teach you stuff when you're little. That's what I've heard.
Dude, when I was in Texas, I was cleaning chimneys for a while. You want to know how that worked? Just to make side money, because I'm always doing something like that. Like now it's
Yeah,
firewood.
right.
Nate and I were driving home from the gym, and Nate was just sitting there going, you know, we need to be making money. How can we start making some money? You know, and I was driving. I saw all these chimneys everywhere. I lived in Houston, Texas, and I go, I know how to clean chimneys. He goes, you do? We get back to my apartment, grab the calendar off of my refrigerator, walk into the neighborhood that's like right next to my apartment, and we're the local chimney sweeps. We didn't get you clean last year. You want us to get you down? And they're like, I don't know if we've ever had our chimney cleaned. Me and Nate look at each other like, "Eesh." And that day, within a half hour, I had a check for $70, and a guy that I said, you can pay us when we come back, because I was going to use the money to go buy these supplies. And
You sound like a real grifter. You probably didn't go clean their chimney, did you?
yeah, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of them didn't need clean, but hey, that's not my problem. They paid for a service and they got it,
Okay.
but I cleaned my chimney on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
A lot came down.
Really good.
A lot, yeah.
And how does that help you?
The buildup on the sides over time
Yeah.
allows the sparks to go up higher and higher,
Oh,
and then
okay.
eventually it can catch on fire. And
Oh.
yeah, that's how houses catch it. Yeah.
I need to check with our sound engineer because I touched the cord underneath here. I want to make sure we're still plugged
Stop
in.
touching your cord, Joel.
Yeah, it's hard not to. All right, so besides cleaning your chimney, how did Christmas go for you, Danny? Yeah,
Excuse
you ever
me.
drank a bottle of water before?
Christmas went pretty well, you know. The girls were happy. They always are.
Okay.
I just, I don't see TV commercials very often.
Yeah, right.
And I saw them recently. I think I was at my dad's, he's showing us something. And I just couldn't believe how far materialistic all the advertisements are. I mean, everything was about, they connected, the commercials are really playing a number on people, it looked like, and I don't like that. I don't like when people ask me what I'm getting my wife for Christmas or Mother's Day or whatever,
Okay.
because it's just, I'm on a different program, and so it's like we've never been like that. We've never.
You don't get her. You don't get her anything usually.
Sometimes, sometimes she does me. But when we get each other something, it's not. I don't know. I'm not saying it's right.
Right.
To me, it's like when people are asking that, it's. I don't know. It's weird.
Does it feel like they're putting pressure on you, maybe?
Yeah, like it's got to represent your love. So what did you come up with?
So you're not buying Sarah a brand new Chevy Tahoe with a big red ribbon in the driveway?
Something better, Joel, because I'll tell you, every time I get asked, there's a little voice in my head that says, don't say, and you want to know what it's saying?
What?
Play it back. Right there, baby. That's what I want to say.
But you
know?
don't.
No, usually I don't. But,
It'd have to be like a ring box. It'd have to be like one of those little jewelry boxes or something.
I usually say, I don't know, but it's going to be very, very special.
Okay.
And it'll be in a box.
It'll be in a box.
And then I leave it at that.
You know, some of these commercials. I'm glad Christmas is over. I don't watch a lot of commercials either, but you know, the commercials where you know, the guy brings the wife out into the driveway and there's a big brand new car with a red ribbon on it. It's the biggest crock of shit that's ever been foisted on the American public.
Right?
Because you're not, okay, no one buys their spouse a car that they don't know about unless you're like a billionaire. Because
Yeah.
are you really going to take the risk of buying a car that you don't know if your wife even likes it or not? Because your wife, if you're going to buy your wife a car, you're
Well,
going to do it blindly.
You're looking at it through our lens of,
Okay.
like you said, it's a money thing.
Well, it's a money thing, but a car is a important personal choice. And if I'm going to buy myself a car, there's certain options that I want. And I would assume that's the case for women, too.
You come out, Marna's got a nice truck out there, you know, and you're like, what? It doesn't have this and that.
That's the stupidest one ever. Did you see that commercial where there's two brand new cars in the driveway, and the wife comes out and looks at the quad cab Chevy all jacked up and goes, "Oh, honey, thank you," and goes to hug the truck, and then the little more femmy SUV, and he's like confused because he assumed that she knew that little the SUV.
Oh.
See, that's the biggest crock of shit ever. And so he's like, "Oh, I guess I'll settle for the little SUV." Nobody's buying two brand new cars at Christmas time. A, B, you're not going to buy your spouse a car and not, she's going to know because you're going to say, do you like heated seats? Do you want, XM? Well, they all come with XM, but you know what I mean? It's never a surprise. That's the biggest crock of shit ever. But people go, "Oh, wow, I'm a bad husband because I've never bought my wife a car for Christmas." And
Yeah.
all I got Marta was a card and a gift card for a manicure, which was, that wasn't it wasn't that difficult.
Yeah.
But she doesn't expect anymore. We don't do stuff like you guys. We don't do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're not buying.
Whoa, what are you talking about
Wow,
here?
easy.
Easy.
Hey, Beck's in the room, so all right, But anyway, I mean, but yeah, we have that understanding where there's no expectation for a giant, costly gift.
Right.
So, but anyway, yeah. So the, Christmas season, had family over. You went to see family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how was that for you?
It was good.
Okay.
It was good.
Okay. No big drama that you want to talk about?
Oh.
God, no.
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 No, there actually wasn't. It was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we did well. We actually hosted Saturday and Sunday. So Saturday was my family. Sunday was Marna's family.
You did 2 Christmases in a row here at the house?
Here at the house, back to
Damn.
back. It actually went well. On Sunday, when Marna's family was here, we did a white elephant gift exchange, which I've never done with a family. I'm vaguely familiar with what they are. I mean, you know what I mean? But,
Right.
And I thought that was actually fun because I'm kind of a dick about this. Well, I'm kind of a dick, but I hate gift exchanges. And I hate specifically when it's Christmas time and you do the dumb name draw
Yeah.
where, oh, Dan, I drew your name for Christmas. Now give me a list of things that you want. And then you provide me a list of 3 or 4 things that you could easily buy for yourself if you wanted to because you're not destitute.
Yeah.
And then I go out there and I buy one of those items and I wrap it up and then you act surprised that you got something that was exactly on your list that you provided me.
Yeah.
I just think it's the dumbest thing ever. But that's what we do.
It's our society.
That is. And, okay, we have 4 kids, so we're drawing 2 adult names and 4 kid names. And okay, now what is your? Oh, we drew your name. What does your kid want for Christmas?
Let's
And
go to the mall and spend
right.
our money.
It's just, I sound like a Grinch. but
That
it's
was
really
me being a
dumb.
puppet.
If there's something I want, I just go buy it,
Amen.
and
Or go without.
or go without. But the spirit in my mind, the spirit of Christmas, beyond the whole Jesus thing, okay, which is important. I am not downplaying the role of Jesus in Christmas. So nobody think
Joel,
that I am.
he is the reason.
He's the
for the
reason
season.
for the season.
Okay.
But
And Santa.
yes, Anna, the whole idea is for if you're out and about. If I'm out and about,
So rude. So rude.
Jesus, Dan.
Who changed the time today? Not me. Not me. Who changed the time?
I changed.
That's
the
my
time.
alarm telling me to come here.
Is that right?
Yeah, so you're
all right,
welcome.
well, don't let it happen again. But my point is when if I'm out and about somewhere and I happen to see something and I go, oh my God, that would be perfect for my friend Dan. That's the spirit of Christmas. It's not, oh shit, I drew Dan's name. Dan, send you a text. What do you want for Christmas, Dan? Can you send me a list? You see what I mean? It might be it might be a
No.
dick.
No, it's just, yeah.
And the worst, in my opinion, is when somebody draws your name, you draw their name or whatever, and then you get the gift card. That's, well, thank you for the $40 card that I can now go buy myself something that I could have done in the first
Yeah.
place. So anyway, I'm really glad we went to the White
I
Elephant.
like the kids getting presents. I just think the adults, I mean, it's like,
Yeah, it's different.
the
Yeah.
white elephant's kind of fun, but
Yeah.
yeah, drawing names and
Yeah,
stuff.
I don't like to draw names.
nah.
Now, when it comes to buying our kids presents, of course, hey, what is it? Is there something that you want? And each of them had one thing that they said they wanted, and then we, got a couple other little things that they didn't ask for or whatever. But the White Elephant Exchange was pretty fun, and you had the whole stealing thing, and I thought it was pretty cool, and we all laughed a lot and had a great time, and to me, that's what it's all about.
How many this year fights that got physical happened at overserved Christmas parties in some families? There's probably a handful right here on the east side.
Well, I tell you what, Dan, I think you know that every single day in the morning I have a routine that involves, getting coffee and sitting down with my Chromebook. And among the 12 or 15 websites that I peruse to read news and things, I look at mugshots every single day. And on Christmas Day and the day after, there are probably twice as many mugshots.
Really?
So what does that tell you? People are overserved.
Yeah.
And they got family over, and one thing leads to another.
Yeah, I think that family element combined with the alcohol, and yeah, I can see it happening.
Yep. Yep.
Certain dynamics.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, all I can tell you is that the 2 days we had was stress-free. People enjoyed each other. But we don't really dip into the sauce all that much.
Yeah.
So, especially on my side.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it was good.
I have one side that drinks and one side that doesn't.
Right.
I'll let you guess which is which. One side's Irish and the other side
yeah.
is
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know what the other side
Right.
is. English,
Okay.
I guess. I don't know.
Well, I got a few things from the kids, and I thought that was great. I'm wearing one. This is from Jory. Jory's been home for a few days with her new baby kitty, who is like this tiny, and he's just awesome.
Yeah, he's
But
cool.
she got me this shirt, and at first I was confused because, as you can see, the button is on the left side, and women's shirts have buttons on the left side. And so I thought,
Maybe it's from Europe.
well, maybe, I thought, is this a mistake? Or is this a women's shirt? But it doesn't look like a women's shirt. But here is what it is, Dan. Look at this. It's a magnet. They're magnet. The buttons are they're just window dressing, Dan. They don't mean anything. They don't
That is
do
like
anything.
the shirt version of a clip-on tie.
Yes, but it's awesome. because
Hey.
it just snapped together. And so, like,
Do the.
I had Marta do it. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the kids got a little embarrassed, but
Oh boy.
yeah. So, but it's still going. Okay, we had some technical difficulties because I kicked the mic cord right out of the computer.
Go, Dad.
I know. I'm what can I say? I'm a dipshit. So,
You're fucking everything up tonight,
I
Joe.
am. I am. So
Beat that.
So we're just kind of finishing up Christmas, and did you get to meet Santa this time? Because he's
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, Santa always comes to my mom's side.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. You ever seen him? You ever met him?
Yeah, he has a very distinguishing laugh. He sounds a lot like my Uncle Tommy.
Is that right? That's not really Santa's laugh that I've heard.
And all the kids know. I mean, there's just they all just go with it, man. Well,
I've never met Santa Claus. He's pretty. I've met some famous people, but not Santa.
I met Santa when I was young. Like
Okay.
he came to our house. This was when I lived on Kirkwood on the south side, so it had to have been first grade or sooner.
Okay.
And I remember he came into our house,
Okay.
and I could have given zero craps about him. I literally went outside and I'm looking for Rudolph.
Yeah.
All I want to see was Rudolph.
Right,
And I knew it was bullshit.
Right. So
But anyway,
who besides Santa? Who's the most famous person that you've ever met?
I met Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds.
Ogre, you asshole. Dennis Gibson is his
Well,
name.
how do you define met? Because like I said, "Hey, Ogre," and he kind of like high-fived me in Vegas.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
is that
that's
like
pretty
I
good.
met him?
His name is Dennis Gibson, I'm pretty sure, and he played in the NFL, and he was also in Bloodsport. Do you remember Bloodsport? With Jean-
Nerds.
Yeah, he was. Which is
No, I don't remember Bloodsport.
Well, which is a movie that doesn't age very well. If you ever had a movie where you liked it when you were younger and then you didn't watch it for like 20 years and then you watch it again, you're like, I can't believe I like this. That's what happened. I watched almost all of Bloodsport a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and Marta was in the room, and a couple times she's like, "You really like this movie?" I'm like, I did, but
know.
So Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, and Hank Williams Jr.
Oh, you met Hank Williams Jr.
Yeah, that was in Arizona at some like those fake Western towns where you go in and every now and then there's like a
Yeah.
gunfight out.
Okay.
I was at one of those and I saw him and I told my buddy Jay, I go, "That's Hank Williams Jr. That's Hank Williams Jr." He goes, "No, it's not." And as we walk by, I go, "Are you Hank Williams Jr.?" And he goes, "I sure am, boy." And he
He touched
slapped
you?
me. Exactly. If I'm lying, I'm dying. I sure am, boy. Slap and just walked on by.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So
I've-
there's that,
Yeah.
That good.
I've
That good.
That good. I've met. I'm not trying to brag, but I have met many, many celebrities over the years. It's hard for me to pinpoint the most famous one, but one of the most famous ones was Ron White, the comedian, who, from the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. And just so people can be reminded, our sound engineer is going to play a clip.
Okay.
All right. Okay, just a reminder. Now, Ron White spent years on the Blue Collar Comedy Tour with Jeff Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy and all that. But right before Ron White got very famous, back in about 1995, he came to the Funny Bone in West Des Moines, and I was the doorman there. And it was a fun job because it was easy, and I got to drink for free, and and all that. But one of my job responsibilities there was to pick up the comedians at the hotel and bring them to the club, and then if they wanted to go out afterwards, like to bars or whatever, they would often ask me to drive them there and accompany them. And most of the comedians at the Funny Bone weren't giant comedians.
What they mean by accompany them?
Like,
What was expected of you?
Be there to make sure that they don't get hassled.
I gotcha.
you know,
Okay.
that kind of thing.
Okay.
And, you know, and like I said, most of the comedians that went to the Funny Bone could go into any bar in Des Moines and not be noticed. But, you know, they did have some famous ones over the years. And so when I picked Ron White up, I didn't know him at the time at the hotel. I picked him up in a convertible, like, Geo Tracker, which is what I drove at the time. Okay. And I had the top down because it was summertime. And I got a few blocks away from the club, and I stopped at a stoplight, and I look over, and Ron is kind of bent down just about a foot, and he's lighting a one-hitter. And I'm, you know, kind of freaking out because I'm like, Ron.
Pass it up. What?
I said, Ron,
Oh.
we are in an open vehicle in Clive, Iowa. And he's like,
What
oh,
year
okay.
was this? What year was this?
Like 95.
Jeez.
And so he used that in his bit that night. And he really, if you know Ron's material, he really pronounced the Clive, Iowa part. And so that night, he wanted to go out. And Ron is every bit the person in real life that he is on stage. Mm-hmm. Drinks a ton of bourbon, smokes cigars. And we closed the bar down. And he didn't want me just in the bar. He wanted me to drink with him, so I did. Mm-hmm. And then the next night, he got me shit-faced again, okay? And then about a year and a half later, then, you know, it was Saturday and he was done. About a year and a half later, I moved to Arizona with my brother. And by then, Ron was really famous. He'd already done a special, and people knew who he was, tater salad, all that stuff. And he was playing the Improv in Tempe. So my brother and I decided, let's go see Ron White, you know, and my brother knew the story. Went to see a show, and he was doing a meet and greet afterwards outside the set. And we got to the front of the line, and he looks at me, and his eyes got big, and he, Iowa. And I said, yeah. And he said, Joel. I'm like, yeah. So,
On the machine!
yeah, I was a little burdened. Yeah, so, Ron remembered me, and that was pretty cool. But, yeah, I mean, he's probably, if he's not the biggest celebrity that I've met, he's definitely the most personable.
Hey, I didn't meet him, but I had interaction with Evander Holyfield when I
Really?
lived in Houston. Yep.
Okay.
Actually, I have met, now that I think about it, I've met my share of famous people. When I lived in Houston, I went to this World's Gym, and it was downtown.
Oh, yeah.
But it was on my way home from the school that I taught at. And he was in there, and he had a dude walking around with him, and he's lifting weights, you know. And I started kind of following him, and my buddy Nate was with me as well. And I was just kind of following, and whatever he would do, I would do.
Right.
You know, and then he got done with the, you know, where you're kind of laying face forward and you're coming reverse sit-ups, you know, like that. Your feet are hooked back there.
Right.
He got done and walked away, and so I started doing them, but he left his weight belt there or whatever, and so he had to stand there until I got done with my set. And so I'm coming up, you know, and I start giving it up.
Oh, my God. Did you get off there and say, do you want me to set the weight a little lighter for you?
Never said a word. Just got done, or as soon as I was done, he grabbed his belt and walked off.
That reminds me, I'm not trying to Tommy top you, but it's really not topping you because Evander Holyfield is probably the second most famous contemporary boxer of our lifetime behind Mike
Think?
Tyson.
Oh,
Behind Mike Tyson.
contemporary?
Yeah, contemporary. I mean,
Okay.
you know, like post Muhammad Ali.
Ooh,
and
I
all
bet
those-
you got a lot of guys with their wheels turning right now.
Yeah, maybe,
or
but
girls,
I'm no
but
boxing
whatever.
expert, but I did run into Tommy Machine Gun Morrison at Edgewater Mall in Biloxi, Mississippi.
I met him too. I'm serious. I met him in Texas and Padre.
Really?
Yeah, South Padre.
I met him at a
I
mall.
just saw him. I didn't meet him.
Well,
I saw him.
I kind of met him because he was walking through the mall, and I was a bit excited to see him because at the time I did watch boxing, and he was my favorite boxer, and he had just won a belt. And I approached him apparently a little bit too quickly for his bodyguards because out of nowhere, there were two guys around him, but I didn't realize they were with him.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I got within 5 feet of him, they both had their hands on me and we're making it clear.
What year was this?
90, early 90s, maybe. I can't. Don't hold me to that. But he was the champ.
Yeah.
And once I made it clear to the bodyguards, I'm not a threat to him. I'm just a fan, and they let me go. And he shook my hand and, hey, how you doing? What's your name? And all this stuff.
Right
and,
on.
Yeah. Then he ended up dying of AIDS. So
Yeah.
thankfully I didn't shake his hand because
Oh.
I kind of fist bumped him maybe, but because I could get
Well,
AIDS.
there
from-
was a time when people thought that, right?
at the time we did
Okay,
think that.
so it seems like as we move on in time, there's always these things where people are like, oh, yeah, pretty much everyone was wrong about that, you know?
Yeah, right.
Everybody was wrong that you have to shunt, whatever.
Yeah. What's everybody wrong
What-
about today?
Well, I'm wondering when wind turbines went bad. Like, I thought those were good.
Oh yeah, wind turbines are bad.
I don't want to talk politics, but I'm just from a
No.
like, what is the?
No, wind turbines are bad. They cause cancer.
I tell
know
my
that?
students the fastest growing job in Iowa is a wind
Well,
turbine
you need to
technician.
correct that with your students because wind turbines are bad. They cause cancer, and they kill eagles.
Okay, you're being.
No. That's what I read. I read that they kill eagles, dozens of eagles, so they need to stop. Oh, plus, Dan, if you're
What website did you read that on? Seriously, this
like
is
Twitter,
the problem.
I think on Twitter. Plus, if you depend on wind turbines for energy and the wind stops blowing, your TV shuts off, your air conditioning shuts off. You didn't know that?
Yeah.
No, I heard that. I read that somewhere.
So I know you're being sarcastic. I was just an honest question because I don't get it. Like,
Yeah.
I thought they were good.
They're bad. They're bad if you have a lot of friends in the coal industry.
Yeah.
Then they're bad. Because then they're bad. But yeah, I don't want to get too. We don't want to get too political here. But and I think don't you mean windmills? Windmills is what I've heard.
It just seems like
We're tilting at windmills here, Danny.
What do you think of all the population currently in the United States?
Yes.
What percent, and this is another honest question, do you think legitimately believe or are climate change deniers? And but I feel like you have to caveat it with whether or not it is climate change that is due to man.
That is what?
Due to man.
Okay.
What percentage is out there? You know,
That are
like,
that do not believe in climate change research.
right.
Hold on. So that do not believe that climate change was caused by humanity?
Correct. That global
Okay.
warming is not a result directly correlated to mankind and how we live. I mean, 20?
I was going to say 30. Now there's differences.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
This is our modern day, you can
Right.
get AIDS if someone
Yeah.
touches you.
Right. There are, I think, of those people, they will acknowledge that man has done some bad things to the earth. Maybe too much pollution or trash, but they just don't think it's a big deal. And then they will deny that there's global warming happening. They don't know. There's no. Look at how much it snowed. Look, there's no global warming. Look at all this global warming that came down in my
Yeah.
front yard. I had to shovel it all out of my driveway.
Where were they when, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I know that joke.
Global warming?
I know.
'Cause it's
Every
freezing.
time it snows,
Were
we
they-
get
were
we
they
get
tweeting
10
that we-
geniuses on Facebook that say, "Oh, I just spent an hour shoveling that global warming off my driveway."
Did anybody say anything about those same people about global warming when we broke a record high on Christmas Day yesterday? I didn't see them.
And we broke a record high. Was it last Thanksgiving that we broke a record high? It was like 70.
I don't want to get political.
Yeah, I know.
But for God's sake, I would think we could agree on just, politics aside, let's at least still have science.
Yeah, your mic's up.
Ah, shit. Sorry.
We have a technical problem. Hopefully, we will be getting new microphones this week.
When did it happen?
Recently.
Okay.
All right, so
All right, and all I'll say, sorry about that. See what happens when I get fired up?
I know. You get excited and you start unplugging shit.
Politics aside, I think science should be science. I mean, that's what's getting kind of scary is how much things can get sculpted based on your choice of how you get your news.
Right,
You know,
right, right.
and I mean, if there's 20 to 30% of the people out there that still believe that climate change and global warming has not correlated to the actions of mankind,
Right,
I think that supports my point.
right.
But what am I not hearing? Maybe, I mean, am I missing something?
Yeah, what are
'Cause
your blind spots? What are my blind
don't
spots?
know.
I don't know. Well, I think that, don't get me soapboxing here, but as a former educator, and you're a current educator, I think our biggest challenge for our students is to teach them how to discern what's real and what isn't. Because back in our day when we were in high school and we were told, hey, you got a research paper to do? I want you to do a research paper on the coal industry. What would you do? You'd go to the library, you'd find 4 or 5 big, thick horror textbooks that were probably printed 10 years before,
Yep.
and you would open them up and you'd read some stuff and you'd take some quotes out and you'd write your research paper.
I want to go back to that.
You say what?
I want to go back to
Well,
that.
there's some pros and cons to that. I mean, the cons is it was probably dated information, but it was what we had. Now you ask kids to write a research paper on coal, and they might go to a extreme right-wing website that talks about how great coal is and how it's blah, blah, blah. Or they might go to the opposite, an extreme left-wing website that talks about there's no place for coal in this world and this
Yeah.
done all this. And a lot of kids don't know how to discern good information.
That's one of my lessons. I have them find an article like that is swayed one way or the other, and then they're what they're supposed to do is keep clicking on the affiliations to figure out where their research, who that's funded by, and see where that comes from. And
Right.
it's not as hard as you would think.
No.
But if you're not taking the time to do it,
Right.
you go, oh, this is
Well, if you don't have a kind of a natural cynicism to your approach to reading, it's hard to figure out what's real and what isn't, because
most people don't read.
most people don't read, and I know, and I'm not saying that I don't, that I can't be fooled, because I can be, but most of the time when I'm reading, I'm asking myself questions like, is this true?
Mm-hmm.
Is that really true? Did whatever this person said, did that happen? Is this bullshit? And while I'm reading, I'm checking what I'm reading to make sure that what they're telling me is true.
Yeah.
Whereas just reading and going, oh, wow, that's incredible. I can't believe that. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's incredible. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people are doing. And that's why we are.
Because it's so easy when you're confirming your own bias
Right.
somehow, when there's
It
a
makes
connection
you feel good
there.
that it must be true.
Yep. Especially if you've already dug in on the topic.
Right, right.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just funny because Marna, well, and your wife too, doing what they do, working mainly with older people. Marna comes home occasionally, and she's just boggled by some of the people that she works with, what they believe to be true in the world, and what they don't know is really true.
Well, I mean, it is current. Look at what just happened here in Iowa. That's national news. The lady that ran children over.
Right. So,
Anyway, yeah.
I know, but this whole thing where we're so connected now, and there's a million different resources out there, and they're all competing to be the first one to break a story, and they're not always accurate, and that's a problem too. So, yeah.
Now, the real problem is there are some powerful entities that are controlling that can put stories out there and completely change someone's reality.
Right. Well, and the head scratcher for me, and I've had this conversation with a few people, is when you confront them on the resources that they choose to use, the news agencies and all these things, and you show them that they're not real, they're inaccurate, they're driven by an agenda. what is the response that you get? Oh, well, like, what, the New York Times doesn't make mistakes? The CNN, the CNN is so biased and blah, blah, blah. And the rationale is, since other news agencies make mistakes, it's okay for them to believe what Alex Jones says on InfoWars.
Yeah. Well,
Alex
and-
Jones, you know who Alex Jones is, by the
Yeah,
way?
yeah.
He's the one that says the Sandy Hook shooting didn't
Mhm.
happen.
I know who he is.
He's being sued and he's losing by Sandy Hook parents who lost their children because he's been giving his listeners their addresses because he believes that it's a conspiracy that
Yeah.
it didn't happen. And you know how many millions of people a month watch and listen to Alex Jones?
Yep.
Okay, so there you go. I just
And-
alienated some of our listeners who may like Alex Jones.
Well, they can go fuck themselves.
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Yes.
People are using social media to create this alternative, alter ego, or this other them that lives in cyber world.
Right.
And if the news that is in cyber world helps solidify that, fake person,
Yeah.
that I don't know, man. I think there's a connection there too.
Yeah.
But
Right. Well,
Either way.
it becomes, I've learned some things, and we're in a different position now than I think we've ever been in our society.
yeah.
I've been trying in the last year to pick my battles. I'm very passionate about certain things, but I don't want to alienate my friends and family. So I've been trying not to initiate conversation about certain things because no one's mind ever gets changed.
Yeah, I know.
They believe what they believe,
I
and
know.
I believe what I believe, and maybe my mind's not going to be changed.
I know.
So anyway,
The
but
duct tape's almost all the way off now. How are we doing on time? Look down underneath you at the bottom. It just keeps.
oh, it's just hanging down.
42 minutes. All right. Well, we're coming up on New Year's
Yep.
Day. That's when everybody makes their New Year's resolutions. Now, mine's a little different because January 10th will be 3 years no alcohol for this dog.
Nice.
All right. So,
Congratulations.
thanks. But you ride a wave for a while. That is, you're feeling better with no alcohol, no alcohol. You start eating healthier, you start exercising, and it just kind of snowballs, right? But I've kind of like, this is the.
Right.
So I'm thinking about doing something different with the way I eat.
Okay.
Now you'll notice I didn't say diet because I don't like that.
Yeah.
Just don't think it's a good word.
No, it's
It just sounds so temporary.
negative connotations.
Yeah, and then
Temporary.
they're all so extremism. Like you can't eat this and you have to eat that,
Right.
and so me, it's a controversial documentary out right now. It's called The Game Changers.
Say it again.
It's called The Game Changers.
Okay, okay.
It's new on Netflix.
Yeah, I hate this setup because I can't see your
You
mouth.
can't read my lips.
And I can't. Yep, I can't. Okay, so anyway, okay, gotcha.
So, and I won't go into it, but I've seen it at the gym. There are certain guys there that are very open about being plant-based or vegan, and they're just some of the most physically fit guys. So I started watching this thing, but one of the things that I picked up on was Bruce Lee, when he was researching the martial arts and he traveled around looking at the different ones, he followed this kind of mantra, these questions or points. Was use your own experience, research your own experience. The second one, keep what is useful, okay, as he tried out these different martial arts. Third one, reject what is useless. And then the fourth, add your own creative touch. And
Yeah.
I think that's what we need to do with the food, what's going to be good for one person may not be what's right for someone else, maybe but just taking control of it and kind of planning it out, I think is going to help because I need to start putting a little more in the gas tank at
Yeah.
the gym and stuff, and
Okay.
I mean, the research is there.
Right.
One of the things it does show, though, in the beginning, they found this mass graveyard of previous gladiators of Rome. And those were some of the first professional athletes ever. They got the best food, the best health care, and they analyzed the bones. They do these really super thin slices of the bones, and they did some kind of chemical test none of which I really understood. But the point of the results
Right.
was they proved that most of the gladiators were vegetarians, and they ate a lot of beans, whatever, and they were beasts. You know, I
Right.
mean, there's this fallacy out there that you have to have meat to get strong, and that's just not the case.
But I like meat, Dan.
I know. But here's
I
the
like
thing.
steak.
Why do you have to give it up all, you know? I mean, I don't think you have to.
Okay.
I mean, for me, I'm thinking long term too, you know? I think there's some, if you could take control and eat pretty damn good food and not cost you a lot, it's just going to be more planning in your
Right.
life, you know? But I want to do it. I think
Okay.
the reward will be worth the effort. So,
Good. Look forward to seeing the results.
yeah.
I mean, I don't want to within reason. I don't want to don't come in here and take your shirt off or anything. But when
You want to see me without my shirt on?
I do.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Looking pretty good these days, Joel.
I am not looking that good these days. So, for the 32nd year in a row, I have resolved to get in better shape, get healthier.
Eat your vegetables.
I've also resolved to call her up 1,000 times a day to ask her if she'll marry me some old-fashioned way. Do you know that song? All right.
Maybe
Every
if you
little thing she
sang
does
it.
is magic, but please.
Oh.
Anyway, but yeah,
Every
no.
little thing she does.
But I also I'm resolving to have more human contact through the day.
You
Nah, don't
really
even-
want to
don't-
see me
don't
with my
even.
shirt off?
Huh?
What?
Don't even more. I need to go do more stuff with real people
Yeah.
rather than sit and do nothing,
Yep.
or
That's
having not real interactions on the internet.
honestly, I think those two go together. I think that's a big part of why I've stuck with the gym so long.
Yeah.
I know those guys. I love those
Right.
guys. You know,
Right.
something that and it's tricky to find them. You know, physical exercise that involves that.
Right.
But getting on a treadmill ain't it.
No.
I mean, it's better than nothing.
Right.
But I feel stupid on them.
Right.
Like,
Right.
but I think there's something. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's basketball pickup game to kind of to complement
Right.
what you're doing. But
Like lunch today with my 2 college buddies.
Mhm.
That was good. And that's the tricky part, Dan, because I'm perfectly comfortable being by myself, but I also recognize that being by myself all the time is not good,
yeah,
because being alone with my brain sometimes tells me bad things.
I know.
So I need to find people, maybe daily, that I can kind of spend some time with to kind of reset,
Yeah,
and that's a goal. So I don't know.
I think there's probably a lot of people out there that they may not have had that goal, but hearing you say that makes them realize they
Yeah.
need to have that
Yeah.
goal. So, maybe if there's people out there that have some ideas,
right,
reach out to you.
right,
Big, giant, tremendous, fat ass
yeah.
.org. Something.
Could try again. I can create a tremendous fat ass support group.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So that's kind of part of it. I mean, I recognize there's some days when I am just not capable of being around people, but then there are days that I feel pretty good, and so I don't know how that's going to work, but that's the goal.
Right on.
So, all right, are we at a point where we need
That
to
feels long.
wrap her up? 50.
50.
Well, we haven't done one in a month, so
Yep, there you
our
go.
89 or 90 subscribers will give you some
right
bonus time.
square in the
Bonus times. Bonus time. So,
bonus.
all right, Dan, Merry Christmas.
Hey,
Happy New
Joel.
Year.
Merry Christmas and go fuck yourself.
All right.